Hey guys, welcome to Go Natural English. I'm Gabby, your American English teacher, and today we're talking about how to think in English with everyday, easy activities that you can do totally for free. Thinking in English is really important because this is going to help you to think faster when you're speaking English, when you're listening to English, when you want to be part of an English conversation with native speakers. You don't have time to translate everything you hear into your native language and then translate it back to English. That's just going to slow you down. So we need to train your mind to think in English, and it's much easier than you think. Really, it's all about erasing those bad old habits that you probably got in your traditional English class. So if you took 10 years of English in high school or middle school or as an adult or in college, you probably picked up some bad habits along the way, like learning through translation. Did your teacher ever give you a list of words to translate into English, or a list of words in English to translate into your native language? Maybe your teacher used your native language in the classroom to teach you English, and maybe 80% of your English class was actually in your native language, so you had to translate into English. Well, we are going to stop those bad habits and develop good ones starting right now. And you can do this. It's 100% possible, no matter how old you are, no matter how many years you've been studying. Really, you are capable. I know you can do this, so let's begin. It's really all about your everyday life and your everyday activities. The best way to learn English is by living it. I remember when I was in my college Spanish class, and I really wanted to learn how to speak Spanish, but we had to learn through analyzing 18th century poetry with vocabulary words that no one uses in modern day conversation. And so after months and years of studying Spanish, I knew how to analyze poetry pretty well, but I couldn't have a conversation in real life. I would go down to the corner store, the bodega, where the owner was a Spanish speaker, a native Spanish speaker, and I would try to talk with him. And it was so embarrassing because all I could really say was, "Hola, ¿cómo está?" And after that, I was lost. I had no idea what he said in response. I was like a mute. I couldn't say anything. So I just said, "Gracias, okay, bye," and ran away because I didn't know what else to do. So I don't want this to happen to you, but maybe you can relate. Maybe you've already had some kind of similar experience. You can tell me in the comments if you have. But what we need to do is take what you do every day already and just transfer that into English. And this will help you to develop your skills thinking in English. So first off, let's start small. Do you have a pet? Maybe a dog or a cat? Could you talk to your pet in English? Instead of talking to them in your native language, saying basic commands like, "Come on, let's go," or "get down," or "no," or "don't," you could do this in English. How about it? I mean, I do this with my pets, and I speak to them in English, Spanish, Portuguese, or whatever language I'm working on in the moment. Yeah, sure, they might get a little confused, but they'll learn quickly. Pets are pretty smart, especially if you use the right tone of voice. If you don't have a pet, well, you could create an imaginary pet, or you could talk to your plants. Do you have any plants? Perhaps you could plant some plants and then talk to your plant. You know, studies have shown that when you talk to your plant, it actually grows faster, better, and healthier. So this is a win-win for your plant and for your English skills. You could just have small talk with your plant. "Hey plant, how are you doing today? I hope you're feeling fine and healthy. I hope that we have a nice sunny day for you. Hey, would you like a glass of water? Here you go." All right, so this is one very basic everyday thing that you can do in English. Be creative. If you make mistakes, it doesn't matter. Really, the idea here is not to be perfect. The idea is to use English more and more in everyday situations. Next, Do you have a cell phone? I bet you do. What language is it in? Is it in your native language? Well, then time to change it to English. That way, now every time you look at your phone, you'll see directions or options in English. And at first it might be a little bit confusing, but because you already probably know how to use your phone, you'll figure it out. And you'll have to, because English will be the only option. So go ahead and set your phone in English, everything in English. Also, if you have the chance to watch some TV or Netflix, do that in English. Starting off, you could use subtitles and then you could watch only in English. This will really increase your exposure to English, which is really, really important. Now start small, so don't binge watch hours and hours of programs or Netflix series in English, because that will just wear you out and kind of stress you out. It can give you an English overload. So start small. Maybe just watch half of a Netflix series in English. I mean, half of one episode, not half of a season. I know it's easy to do with some of these really great series, but start small. Maybe just 15 minutes in English is good enough for today. And again, this is to train your listening and to learn some new phrases. Now, it's really great to watch modern day TV shows and Netflix series in English and not classic literature or poetry from the year 1800, because while those are beautiful and rich, they're not really going to help you to improve your conversational English right now. You can even improve your speaking skills and pronunciation by repeating what you hear on the TV show. Just slow down. You can pause the show if you're watching it on Netflix and repeat what you just heard. Now, you might want to just do this if you're on your own. If you're watching with friends, they might think it's a little weird. Now, another thing that I love to do in languages that I'm learning is to look at recipes. I love cooking. Do you? Well, if you do, you'll enjoy looking at recipes in English, especially if you look for American recipes. It could be a win-win where you learn about the culture through food and new vocabulary by reading and creating these recipes all in English. If recipes are a little bit too involved or take too much time, you don't have time to cook, simply talk through your day. Now, if you do anything from this lesson, this is it. Talk through your day in English. You could just talk through what you're doing right now. Right now, I'm studying English. 今、英語は勉強します。Really, just talk through your day. This is what thinking in English is. We're just training ourselves to do that by speaking the thoughts aloud, and then it will happen subconsciously without you taking that action, without you really consciously thinking about it. You will start to subconsciously do it automatically. And that's what we're going for here, is automatic English. Yes, if you want automatic English, thinking in English, then comment yes. This is how we do it. Just a couple more bonus ideas to help you to think in English. You can create a to-do list for each day in English. What do you need to do? Make that list on a piece of paper, or you can do it on your smartphone or on an app online. Access media in English. Read the news in English. Use social media in English. Anything that you do in your native language, I want you to think about it. You can make a list of all the things that you do in your native language each day. Maybe I didn't mention some of them, but think about how you could do, if you could do, each one of these things in English. And before you know it, when you do these little by little, you don't have to do them all at once. Just choose one to start today, right now. You will be thinking in English. So that's it. It's totally possible. Just start and don't look back, and you will be improving your fluency in no time. These are some of the things that I work with my students on in my complete English course, Fluent Communication. And mindset is a big part of this, because you have to believe that you are able to think in English. If you don't think you can do it, it's going to be very difficult to do it. So first, believe that you can think in English just like a native speaker, and then you will develop the skill much more easily. Here are 9 more ways that you can think in English now. Click right up here for the lesson, and I'll see you there. Bye for now.